but there was still that desire, that passion to create content, family-friendly content that still had that exciting, just going after big fish, chasing fish, telling that whole story, bringing the pages of the Captain's Log to life. And so that was always in the back of my head. Hey, I'm Captain Jonathan Moss. I'm host of the Captain's Log TV, and this is the Tom Rowland Podcast.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast this week. We've got a really good one for you. Captain's Log TV, hosted by Jonathan Moss, is a very good TV show. It's on Waypoint, and Jonathan is a really cool guy. I've gotten to know him over the last year or so, and we share an affinity for working out in a dirty parking lot. Jonathan came to all of the ICAST workouts, and we did a deck of cards in the parking lot. Many people decided that wasn't good for them, but when I say it was a dirty parking lot, it was a dirty parking lot. When we walked back to the hotel, I go up to the room, I get in the shower. It looked like I had just gone to the beach. There was sand and dirt and grit everywhere. Somehow that's how I like to have fun before I have to do things all day long. Jonathan tends to agree, which I find kind of funny. But thanks for everybody that came out to those workouts. We'll do them again next year at ICAST. And this is going to be a great show with Jonathan Moss about how he got his TV show started, how he decided on the direction, the difficulties he's had with it, the challenges that he's overcome, his work ethic, and really his mindset, and in going in and developing a TV show, all while holding on to another job and a guide career and a family with young children at home and another one on the way. So it's very interesting. I really enjoyed this podcast. Jonathan's a cool dude, and I think you're going to really like it. One of the things that I want to talk to you about today is some of the things that we've got going on. We've got all kinds of stuff happening, lots of new podcasts, lots of new content being created every single week. You can see all of that at saltwaterexperience.com. You can also go to the website, tomrowlandpodcast.com. Both of those are kind of where we keep everything. And you can see articles about each podcast. You can also sign up to be on a mailing list where we can let you know about all the new content that's created. We send one email a week. And if you go to saltwaterexperience.com, you can sign up for the mailing list. That's also where we tell you about things like the Hawks K giveaway that we are still doing. It's a really big giveaway. It's the biggest one we've ever done. It is 4 days, 3 nights at Hawks K Resort in the beautiful Florida Keys. You also have Fishing with Saltwater Experience. Hawks K's throwing in dinner at the Angler and Ale. And all kinds of other sponsors are throwing in things like Tackle Direct has a gift card. Hook has a $1,000 gift card. Yeti's throwing in some luggage. We've got a battery charger from Lithium Pros. Lowrance is throwing in a GPS unit. It's over $6,000 worth of equipment and fun, and I hope you win. You have to go to, you can enter it in 2 different ways. You can go to saltwaterexperience.com, and we'll put the link below, or you can go directly to tackledirect.tv and you can enter there. Either way is fine, but we'd love to have you enter. I hope you win. Then there's another thing that has been increasing in popularity, something that I find quite interesting. I love mindset. I love quotes. I love to read books about people who have been successful and maybe take one little lesson or one little quote from that book and apply it to my life, or really remember it in a time that I really need it. And so Mindset Monday is something that I have put out. I've collected several hundred of my favorite quotes and then written a little commentary about that quote. It's 400 characters or less, so it's not a real big investment on your part. But if you are like me and you like to get a little motivation, maybe at a time that you really need it most, like about 9-10 a.m. on a Monday morning, then you can subscribe to the text thread, the community text that we have for Mindset Monday, and it's very easy. You text the word mindset, MINDSET, one word. You text that to 305-930-7346. 305-930-7346. You just text the word mindset. Once you text that in there, you'll get a response back almost immediately that will ask you to click this link. You enter your name and whatever information it asks for, and boom, you're in. You'll get a confirmation. It'll say, here you go. Stand by for Mindset Monday. It's coming your way, or something like that. And then every Monday at 9-10 a.m., you'll get, in 400 characters or less, a little bit of motivation. And this is the one that was this Monday. There is no elevator to success. You'll have to take the stairs. And that's a quote by Zig Ziglar. And I wrote in there, my commentary to that is, yep, and you'll probably have to do it one step at a time. Stop looking for shortcuts and do the work necessary to achieve what it is that you want. No one or no thing is going to rise you to the top. Take the stairs and enjoy the process. Make small gains every single day, and you will make it to the top. And that is a perfect segue to this podcast with Jonathan Moss, who has done just that. All right, here we go with Jonathan. Jonathan, what's going on?
What's up, buddy? How are you, my friend?
Man, I'm doing great. Nice to have you on the show. I really appreciate you doing this.
Yes, sir. It's good to spend time with you where we're not working out. We're not talking business. We're just hanging out as buddies, man. It's awesome.
Right on. So Jonathan was one of the, last time I saw you, we were working out in a dirty parking lot at ICAST. You seem to have the same feeling about it that I do. I like rolling around in a dirty parking lot for some reason. I don't know. I don't know why, but we had 3 fantastic workouts, man, with a bunch of people that showed up. It was really fun. That was cool.
It was a great time. And I tell you, when you think about working out at 6 a.m. in a parking lot, you're going to get 2 reactions from people. Either 1, yes, let's do it. Or number 2, man, you're crazy. What are you doing? You either love it or you hate it, brother.
That's right. Well, for me, it helps to start the day. Like I just start the day with movement of some sort, and it's way better for me. But Captain's Log, man, tell me about your journey to starting your show.
Wow. That journey started 2012. I was down in Islamorada. I was down in Marathon fishing the Vaca Cut, and we were filming, we were catching tarpon, and I just had this idea of, man, we need a place to capture these videos, create videos, and put these videos, and then write stories about it. And so Go Castaway was that solution, that answer. And so we created gocastaway.com, and it was a blog and a video spot for people to go and read stories and watch videos of fishing and hunting and camping, the outdoors. But it took a lot of work. It took a lot of efforts. At that time I was a full-time teacher. So my time was very divided, but there was still this passion, this desire to create content. From there, we did that for a few years, me and some buddies. From there, it blossomed to Go Castaway, became my fishing charter company, Go Castaway Fishing Charters. And my focus with fishing was less on the content creation side, but more of the business of creating a fishing charter and a successful charter company. But there was still that desire, that passion to create content, family-friendly content that still had that exciting, just going after big fish, chasing fish, telling that whole story, bringing the pages of the Captain's Log to life. And so that was always in the back of my head. Started filming, started really praying about it, thinking about it. And I met a guy at church who I know nothing about the film side, the technical side, the big cameras, the big equipment. That wasn't me. I was more of the smaller side, using GoPros, filming with our phones. That's how we started. And so I was looking for somebody who was not only passionate about fishing, but passionate about filming. Because when you're passionate about the filming side, when that's what gets you excited, that's the teammate I was looking for. And I found that guy. Timing, though, wasn't great. We worked hard for a year and a half. We filmed 5 or 6 different episodes, but we never were able to put it together. And in my head, I was having this internal battle, like, why is this not working? And really praying about it. But at the same time, there was this guy, another guy, who was honing his skills, learning the camera, learning the trade of running a camera and editing. And a year and a half, 2 years later, I met Jack, who is our main camera guy and our main editor. So it wasn't great timing for me, but it was God kind of putting this ball rolling in motion. And 2 years later, I connected with Jack. We started filming and editing videos. We pitched the show to Waypoint. And the next thing you know, we're on Waypoint, and we've released now. We are just over a year old. We've released 21 episodes, wow. 2 seasons in a year. We hit the ground running. We were consistent, releasing every other week for both season 1 and season 2, which we felt was just extremely important to continue to be consistent for our viewers, consistent for Waypoint, consistent for our sponsors. It's been a crazy journey. I'm not going to lie. Season 1, in fact, I reached out to you as soon as we got on Waypoint. And to be transparent, I had no idea that you were involved with Waypoint. I thought you were just a host of a show and a podcast that just happened to be on Waypoint. Yeah. And I had just listened to one of your podcasts. I'm going blank on the guy, but it was about sponsorship. Huh. I asked you some questions and told you that season 1 was fully funded by my wife and I. I didn't have a product, and I didn't want to ask companies, though I had great relationships with a lot of companies. I didn't want to ask companies for financial support for a product I couldn't show them. Huh. Season 1 was just about, let's create a product and let's create the best product we can possibly make with the budget we have, and then grow from there. And that worked out very well for us. So it's been exciting. Season 2 was crazy. We went to our furthest locations as far south as Key West, as far northwest as Louisiana. And both of those trips ended up requiring extra days because of weather, of course, extra trips. Just we had issues, but that's part of filming a TV show. But the learning experience from both of those, from both seasons, man, I'm passionate about it. I'm fired up about it. And being a full-time guide, I'm on the water 250 days a year. I don't get to fish very often. So what I get the most from people on social media and the messages I get, are you really that excited about catching a fish? Heck yeah, I'm excited, man. I never get to catch these fish. So being that opportunity, I tell my friends all the time, if you're a full-time guide and you want to go fishing more often, start a fishing show so then you can go fishing more often.
Dude, that's the hardest way. Maybe take a day off. Take a day off and just go. It'll be cheaper and easier, and
cheaper and easier.
Way easier on the family too, I'm sure. Which is something that I wanted to ask you about, because man, I remember when we were first starting our show, definitely right in the same ballpark. We were fishing tournaments. We had a 300-day a year guide schedule, and we're trying to start a TV show. Meanwhile, I have 2 babies at home trying to do that. And I remember those days. It was extremely stressful. It was a real delicate balance. And the thing that fell away for me, there's always some sort of compromise. You got to give up something. And for me, that was sleep. I mean, I just didn't sleep for years. Like, you just don't sleep. And so what has that process been like for you as you're trying to start this? I know you've got kids, and what has that been like?
So I'm so blessed. I'm married to an incredible woman. I love fishing so much that I married a girl named Brooke. She's named after a fish and water, so that worked out well. Brooke is incredibly, incredibly supportive. I could not do this without her backing. She's a stay-at-home mom. We have little Dieter. He's 1.5 years old, and Brooke is pregnant with another baby boy who's due in November. So the benefit of them being so young is it helps me being gone. I'm not missing a ton, but I am missing them being little.
Yeah. I mean, you're definitely, for sure. Like I'm with you 100% there. Like there is a time when they're really little that may be the best time away. I mean, there's not a good time to be away.
It's not a good time away.
Like that's what my wife and I decided is when we were in that same situation, it was like, and with Rich too. Rich didn't have kids when we first started, but he does now. And we kind of decided, okay, how's the best way to film this show that causes the least family disturbance? And that was, you know what, you just got to go and do it all at once. So there were a couple of seasons where we would just mark off a month and we would fish and film every single day, and we would get the whole shebang all at once, one day after another. And that was also stressful. We don't do it like that anymore. We don't have to. But man, when you have to do it like that, that is tricky. That is tricky.
Well, we're not filming a whole month at a time. We try though. And this is I was telling some friends the other day, this is the hardest game of Tetris I've ever played, because you're booking with fishing guides. You know, the name of the show is The Captain's Log. So I'm fishing with other captains 90% of the time. So I'm trying to get on their calendar. Plus, I'm also a fishing guide. So I'm trying to arrange my calendar. Plus, we got to add in all the camera crew and then pray that we have right weather.
Right.
So it is definitely a challenge. And so one thing we'd like to do is to make the most of a trip. So if we're heading south and I'm going to go fish, we're based in Central Florida. So if I'm going to fish the Keys, then let's try to make a couple of stops on the way. Either in Fort Lauderdale for an offshore trip, Miami for peacocks, or Biscayne Bay, and then work our way down the Keys. If we can do that, then we're making the most of a trip. I'm paying my guys for a weekend as opposed to several weekends, it's just a whole lot easier. Now, the hard part about that is the logistics with getting the weather to line up with the days you're on the water. Because if you're scheduled to fish Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 different locations, and Thursday's not looking great, you're stuck. You got to go on to Friday and Saturday. So,
well, you know, the weather loves cameras and fishing tournaments, and super important charters. Like those are the three things that make the wind blow more than anything else. And I mean, we have certainly been fortunate to have some really nice days that we've been out there, but the bad days severely outnumber the good days. And you're out there on a normal day, and you're just like, man, love to have the cameras out here today. Like this is amazing. But you know, as this, you know, and that's really the difference. One of the big differences between like what you were doing earlier with a GoPro and your phone, which you can basically do anytime the fishing's good, you're capturing that. But then you start to be like, okay, well, in order to get the production quality up, we need other people. And other people have lives and schedules and places that they need to be and other ways that they make a living. And when you're first getting these things started, you can't pay those people enough to be full-time for you where they can just drop whatever they're going to, and you may never be able to. Like, I still don't do that. I don't have anybody that I can just be like, okay, let's go. We're leaving for a month. There's nobody that we work with like that. But it's a tricky little thing, man.
Yeah. And going back to where I was saying about having people who are passionate about it, I'm very blessed that my camera team is passionate about filming. So that helps make it a little easier when I call the guys. Like we did our season 2, we filmed in Louisiana. We filmed with Captain Max McKinley, and Max called me and said, Jonathan, you need to get here like right now. Can you be here tomorrow? And I talked to my wife. She said, go. I called the camera guys. They said, we'll make it happen. So those situations do come up occasionally, but it's very difficult when all these schedules to pull somebody away. Thankfully, though, I have guys that are like, they're ready to drop the ball because they're excited about the Captain's Log and creating this content and creating the show for you guys, for the viewers.
What, one of the underlying things that we talk about on this show a lot, and something that I'm always very interested in, because in my own experience, there was a time where, like this thing's looking like it's about to happen or it could happen, but you've got a charter business, you got family at home, you've got other responsibilities. It's very expensive. All of the things that we've just talked about, and there comes a time where you just have to say, "I'm doing it." Like, I'm doing it, and it's like one of those things that it's kind of like it's easy to do, but it's a lot easier not to do. That you have to make this decision, and you have to really go for it and accept all the consequences with what comes from it, whether that's success or failure or way more money than you ever imagined it was going to cost or whatever it was. But I'd be interested to kind of know where that was with you and your wife too, like how, because I'm sure that there's a lot of conversation there. But did you have that moment?
Oh yeah. And listen, I don't approach anything without prayerfully considering it. And sometimes, obviously, I don't pray about every little thing, because then God's just gonna be like, no, bro, just do it, go for it. But I really felt like this was a direction that I was being led to do. Go down this road of pursuing this life goal, this passion of filming a TV show. And I remember the first day of filming, first episode, season 1, Jack wouldn't answer his phone. I was freaking out. Like, I can't get my camera crew's not answering their phone. They're not responding. I'm almost there. We had several things were happening that morning where my credit card got compromised. I didn't have any cash. My wife, we just had a baby. We had a month-old baby. It was like 5 a.m. I called my dad at 5 a.m. because my dad's always up at 5 a.m. I was like, bro, I need some money. I need a credit card. I need cash, whatever you got, because I got to get gas. I got to get food. I got to get all this stuff. Everything was just falling apart. And I remember I stopped at a gas station right down, like a couple miles from the ramp. I'd never been in this place before. And I'm just praying, God, what are we doing here? If you want this to happen, I need you to open the doors. I need you to just be clear. If you don't want it to happen, man, just shut the door, because I don't want to waste a bunch of time and money. Like, this is so much invested in this. I don't want to waste the time and money. And I leave the gas station. I had the address on my phone, and my GPS goes, hang a left on Follow Your Dreams Parkway. And I was like, what? Follow Your Dreams Parkway was the name of the road. And I took that as a sign. So when things are tough, man, just because you've been called to do something doesn't mean it's going to be easy, No,
definitely not.
Every step of the way, there are challenges. But man, that's what makes it better. That's what makes it the most fulfilling, is even though it was difficult, even though it was tough, you lowered your shoulders, you drove through it, and by trusting, putting your faith in God and trusting, man, it happened, it comes together. And again, it's not always easy, but I'm a sucker for hard work, man. I like working hard.
Where'd you get that?
My family.
What, and so what kind of family instills that kind of work ethic? My mom is Cuban and my dad's a redneck. So I'm half Cuban, half redneck. Sweet. Hey, you could, I think there are rednecks in Cuba too. You could be a full-blooded redneck Cuban.
There is a thing as a Cuban redneck.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyways, my grandparents had a grocery store in Cuba, and that was completely taken away from them. Castro came in, and I'm not trying to get political, but Castro came in and took everything. And my grandfather got on a plane, flew to America, got a job as a busboy. So I think he went from a business owner to a busboy. He didn't know English. He didn't have any friends or family here in Orlando. He got a job. He ate leftovers off of people's plates, off these plates that he was supposed to be cleaning from the tables. Got an apartment, learned how to drive, wired money to my grandmother, and my grandmother bought plane tickets for her, my aunt, my mom, and they got one of the last flights here. Moved to America, didn't know any English, didn't know anybody, and the only thing they knew was you work. If you want to eat, you work. And that was how I was raised. My mom was raised that way, so my parents raised me that way. My dad came from a poor family, and the only way you ate was you worked. And so that work ethic, I didn't have any other option, but hey, you want to get something done, you work. And there's fulfillment in that. You know, I love working with my hands. I love whether that be working in the garden with my wife or building something or tying flies. There's something rewarding about creating something with your hands. You know, for the fly guys, for the fly side, when you create a fly and you present that to a fish and you watch that fish eat something you created, that you worked on, that you created, made, that's awesome. So that's where this whole thing came from, was my grandparents. I wouldn't be the man I am if it wasn't for the way my mom was raised, my dad was raised, which ended up leading the way I was raised. And so I owe a lot to my family, and I'm very blessed with the family I have.
It's so interesting because, like, as I go down these stories about, you know, the moment that people decide that they're gonna jump, or the burn the boats moment, or the moment that you know, you really make a commitment or whatever, there always also comes to some sort of a story like that, like something that at initial reaction could be perceived as a weakness. Like, well, you had your entire business taken away from you. You come back over to America, you have nothing. That's a weakness, right? Like that a lot of people could be like, you know, oh, it's somebody else's fault. This is this is a weakness, but this weakness becomes the strength. Like, because of the work ethic, because, you know, if you want to eat, you got to work, and then that gets passed on to you, and that gets passed on to your whole family. And then that weakness becomes the greatest strength that you may ever have. Or, you know, initially it doesn't seem like a strength, or, I mean, you're kind of like, well, you know, I just have to go to work. You don't even realize it. Like, there's no money, you don't have any money. So that's kind of a weakness. And then that becomes a strength, like of work ethic. And it's very interesting. I see this all the time, even enough to where I'm like, weakness is strength. There's something to that. Like, whatever you perceive as your greatest weakness, if you work on it long enough and hard enough, it will become your greatest strength. And I mean, would you consider like your work ethic to have benefited you outside of developing the show and getting it started? And like, how else in your life has that benefited you?
When I first started guiding, so I used to be a teacher. I used to be an elementary school PE teacher, and that was great. That teaching allowed me to live the life I wanted to live. I worked from 8 to 3 every day. I would take my boat to school. I'd get out of school early enough where I could just go straight to the water and fish. I was off for the summer. I became a teacher for 3 reasons: June, July, and August, having all summer. Right? So that led to, with the work side, with the work ethic side, that led to me wanting to become a fishing guide. I got tired of the politics of teaching and went into becoming a fishing guide. Well, when you're a brand new fishing guide, you don't get calls. You're brand new. So you can do all the SEO you want, but your name doesn't just pop up on the internet. Okay. So it takes time. To become a fishing guide, I knew that I needed a new boat. And so I started praying about work, and I was working Monday to Friday at school, but I needed extra work. I started playing guitar and singing at different restaurants around Orlando. So I was working every day. And
playing guitar and singing at restaurants. I mean, I'm not letting you just gloss over that one. So what kind of music do you play when you do this? You just go in there like what? Like there's I was walking past somebody doing this the other day, and and I'm not saying this is what you were doing, but this guy just had a hat out there, but he was like another level up. Like, this guy really had some talent. He had a speaker and it was really loud. And I was like, I don't think that guy needs to do this. I think he's doing that because he wants the experience of getting in front of people, and he wants this practice, and he wants to get in these uncomfortable situations of just playing the guitar on a bridge. And he's getting better because he's obviously, he was dressed nice. He has this big speaker. The other people that are doing this You can tell, like, that guy needs to do this. That guy wants to do this. He's doing that for a different reason. So at what point do you, like, how do you do that? Like, you're playing at bars and restaurants and stuff like that, but would you ever see a situation where you would just start playing just for the experience of it?
No, I never did that. I didn't.
But would you? Would you though?
The way we got started is we started playing at open mic nights, just so we could build relationships with these bars and restaurants and say, hey, I know you like having people here playing music, but you have all these random people showing up. How about us? We can come and play on Friday and Saturday night. Here's what it costs. Here's what it's going to look like. But we are consistent. We're going to be there every week. And instead of you not knowing what we're going to sing or play or who's going to come up next, they could be terrible. You never know for an open mic night. So that's how we kind of got our foot in the door. And the next thing you know, I'm playing 12, 15 times a month.
Wow.
All over Orlando.
What kind of music do you play?
So I had a duo. So I was either playing guitar and singing, or I was playing the mandolin and singing. We had a drum box called a cajon. So I'd sit on that and we'd play, and we would just bounce off each other. But we played.
So who's the partner in this? A female or a male?
No, another guy. His name is Patrick, and he is way better at guitar than me. So it made me look good, and he was good at singing harmony. So we sounded good for what we had, for just having two guys and a couple of guitars. But we played oldies all the way to new stuff. Like we joke and say we'd play anything. We'd cover Katy Perry all the way to the Beach Boys, to Kenny Chesney, to the Foo Fighters. Like, we were all over the place, and we would make it our own. And that's why people liked it. But they paid us. Man, that we played one year for a whole solid year. We played at a restaurant, and I feel like we robbed them. Like, they paid us so much money, and they fed us. We had a steak. We played Friday and Saturday nights, and they'd feed us a steak dinner with two sides and a salad with a chicken breast on it every Friday and Saturday night. So I would order that food. I'd eat the salad for dinner while I was there. And then I would cut the steak in half, and I'd have steak for lunch Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I eat that. So I was saving so much money so I could put all that extra income towards me buying a new skiff. But we played all over the place, man. We played so much. When summer break hit at school, there was not a happier person at school than this guy, because I was so ready for a day off and the opportunity to go fishing. I was still fishing. I was fishing every Saturday morning. I'd sing till about midnight, and then I'd be up at 4 and I'd go fishing. I'd come back probably 2, 3 in the afternoon, take a shower, pack the truck, and go back and play music till midnight, and then go to church the next morning. I'd play at church, and then there was a taco shop not far from the church, and I'd play the lunch hour at the taco shop. And we played ice cream parlors. We played everything you think of, grand openings, birthday parties. We were all over the place, but that was the goal. That's what I needed to do to get the money to buy a brand new skiff.
Right.
I paid cash for my boat, and I did that for a reason, because I didn't want to start a business and be broke.
Right.
So I got my skiff. I started guiding, but I was still teaching that first year of guiding because I didn't have any money. So, and no one knew me. My phone wasn't going to ring.
Right.
So going back to where this all started from was the work ethic and the drive. No matter what you're doing, no matter what the industry, what you put into it, your drive, your passion, your determination, that's going to determine your success. It doesn't mean it's always going to be easy. Going towards, if you want to talk about working out, if you want to deadlift 400, 405, 4 plates, you have to work through that, building up the weight and doing the reps, putting in the reps before you can pick up that weight. That's a lot of weight. That's a lot of weight for me. For some people, it's a lot of weight. But it takes time and effort and energy and working to get to that goal. I'm a goal-oriented person. And so part of accomplishing your goal is working hard and going after it and not quitting when it's tough.
Yeah.
It's a mental game. It's a huge mental game.
Yeah. That's awesome though, man. The whole background on music, and just, that's a hustle, man. I mean, you were hustling. So who booked all those trips? Would you and your partner just both be like, hey, I got a birthday party, let's do it?
Yeah, I did all the booking. He was a college student at the time, so he had a lot more free time, which is why he's way better at guitar than I am. But truthfully, man, it just, God was opening the doors. We'd be playing somewhere, and I remember we were playing at this restaurant, and this guy walked by us, and you're playing, so you're paying attention. You're playing the same restaurants a lot. You're always looking for something to make it feel different. And this guy walked by, we finished the song, and this lady ran up to us. She's like, "Hey, that was my husband. He's going to the bathroom. Here's my number. Give me a call. I want to book you guys for a birthday party." So stuff like that happened all the time. And then she ran back to her table because she didn't want her husband to know. But that's just kind of how it worked. Doors were opening for us. And the funny thing is, the crazy part, as soon as I got my boat, I needed a break. As all the doors shut. It was the craziest thing. I was praying for extra work. I was praying for extra money. And as soon as I got the boat, the door shut. And I went from playing.
What do you mean the door shut?
Like all the bars and restaurants we played at, just a lot of them called and said, "Hey, so we're going to take a break. We're spending a lot of money on music. And so we're going to take a break and just play house music for a while." And I wasn't upset about it. I needed a break. So I went from, playing 12, 15 times a month to like once a week, 4 times a month.
Wow.
And did that all through guiding until I even when I got married, I was still doing it, which made it tough because it was extra money and we needed it. And, but when you're working Monday to Friday and my wife was working Monday to Friday, the last thing I wanted to do Friday night was go play for people. I wanted to spend time with my wife.
Right.
So we spent a lot of time at different restaurants. She'd come and just sit and watch, and she's my biggest fan. Always. She still is my biggest fan.
Nice.
So now I don't play anymore. I play at church occasionally, but other than that, I'm not playing much music anymore.
Right. Well, with your partner that you were playing with, did you guys have a conversation to be like, "Man, I will play anything. You get us any paying gig and I'm in"? Like, because that's not, and you can say that about guiding. You can say that about anything. Like, there are some people that are like, "Look, man, if it's not a fly fisherman that's really good, I don't want to take them. Like, I'd rather just sit at home and do nothing." But then there's some other guy that's like, "Listen, man, you get me a paying trip and I'm down. I will take people to fish for pinfish. I will fish for lizard fish. I will take them offshore. I'll take them inshore. I will go to the Everglades. I'll go to the Marquesas. I will trailer to Orlando. Give me a trip." Like, how did that it sounds like that happened with the music. Like, man, we will play birthday parties. We will play bar mitzvahs. We will play whatever, anything.
Listen, the ice cream place was the best. The local ice cream shop, they're blowing up all over Central Florida. And so every time they would open a new shop, they would book us, and they'd book us for 6 hours. That's a lot of music, a lot of playing and singing. But it was all the ice cream you could eat, man. So.
Okay, that's a great transition to where we're going next, to the fitness journey that you've been on, because that's obviously where you gained your weight. All the ice cream you could eat.
Oh man, it's the fitness thing is. I used to be a runner. You can't tell. I got the dad bod going. The fitness thing was always it's just fun. It's a mental game. It's how, especially with CrossFit. So I used to work out at a normal regular gym.
Yeah.
I don't know what you can call it. But a normal, just like a PF gyms or 24 hours kind of deal. And that's fun. I enjoy that. I enjoy the bodybuilding side of it and getting stronger and trying to get bigger. But it's not as exciting. It's not as fun. And most of those days I was solo. Fast forward a little bit, my cousins opened a CrossFit gym, but one of the first CrossFit gyms.
Oh, it's your cousin. Okay, cool.
That's where that started. And I went, and they were doing this. It was a Saturday workout, and they were doing this workout called Fight Gone Bad. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
I saw it and thought, this is it. This is exactly what I'm looking for, because there's the community side, there's the competition side, there's the, man, Tom, when we were working out a few weeks ago at ICAST, I wanted to beat you. I knew I wasn't going to, but it pushed me to work harder, to keep pushing, to not stop. And that's what I love about the CrossFit side is you are with other guys and they don't want you to beat them and you don't want to be beat by them. So we're pushing each other. And that's what I love about that style of working out. It's a community thing. And I work out on 4 o'clock, at 4 o'clock every day at the gym. And I work out with the same guys every day and we push each other. Same guys and girls. It's co-ed and we're pushing each other. And that's how you get better. That's how you get stronger. And not only are you getting stronger physically, but you're getting stronger mentally. CrossFit is, you're constantly going, this is stupid. I should stop. Like, I need to take a second and breathe. I need to take a second and get a drink of water. But you don't have that time because you're going against other people. You're pushing yourself. You have a clock. Sometimes there's a timer.
Yeah. I mean, everything that you're saying is certainly a reason that I like it too. I mean, you can get that community thing. I used to have a running group. I had you don't want to get left behind on the running group either. You don't want to get left behind on the bicycle group either. You don't want to, you want to keep up and you want to win and you want your hard work to show like you've been putting in a little extra work and all of a sudden you start winning everything. And the people that you're working out with are like, man, what are you doing? Like, how did this happen? Because you used to be last every time and now you're winning everything. Like, hook me up. Like, what are you doing? Oh, well, nothing really, and you want to keep that edge, but you can get a lot of that stuff from other types of fitness. I mean, swimming, running, even regular bodybuilding. There are a lot of people that have groups of people that they work out with. I mean, go back and look at the old Ronnie Coleman videos, man, where him and all those other dudes would be in that rusty old dusty gym that they were in, and he's doing a 2,600 pound leg press, and he's got 8 or 10 guys around him. Man, they're having a hell of a time. I mean, they're having a hell of a time. And there was a community thing there, and there have been a few outliers that have been able to win the CrossFit Games and train primarily alone. Matt Frazier, Ben Smith, both of those guys, and that may be more of an individual effort. Like, you put them around a group of people and maybe they do a little bit better, but they don't need it. They go to that dark place by themselves, but
they have a specific drive for that.
Yeah. That may be very unique. But for the most part, I mean, that's what I tell a lot of people people know that I like to work out and I post about it a lot, and it brings questions. Like, I don't know, over 18 years of watching the television show, people kind of feel like they know you and they're like, man, I'd really like to get in good shape too. And I'm always like, look, you got to find something that you like to do. And you may find a situation that you like all of the people that are there, and at first you don't really like what it is that they're doing. Maybe it's a tennis group, or maybe it's a CrossFit class, or maybe it's a running group or something. And you're like, I don't really like running. But then you get in there and you're like, oh, well, this is a lot more about fellowship and support. And yeah, we're running, but I just talked for 45 minutes to these strangers. And everybody's pouring their heart out because you got all the dopamine going, and you got all these adrenaline and all kinds of other things going. And the next thing you know, you're just like having this conversation that you would never have otherwise. And everybody feels good. And then you're like, oh, well, maybe I still hate running, but I sure do like that group. And in the last 3 months, I've lost 20 pounds and my resting heart rate's gone down 15 beats. And it's amazing what the community does. It is. It really is. There is a community aspect to it that I think is overlooked a lot. And I see people that they start on a fitness journey. They want to do something. Their doctor tells them that they're too fat, or their doctor tells them that they're going to have a heart attack if they keep going or whatever. And so they start this thing all by themselves. And rarely does it work. Like the only people that I see that do that consistently, that can start something by themselves and then see it through to the end, is someone who was an individual sport athlete growing up. Like take a swimmer, a wrestler, a tennis player, somebody that has put in a tremendous amount of time by themselves, has already been in shape, realizes, man, I really let myself down. I'm letting my family down. I've got to get back here, and I know exactly how to do it. And I don't need anybody else. I'm going to do it. That's a rare individual. That's a very rare individual, because when you can join a community of any kind, CrossFit's awesome if that's what you like, but it's not for everybody, and everybody doesn't have to do that. But there's a lot of other things with these communities that it's some big help, man. I mean, it keeps you consistent. It keeps you accountable. It keeps you intense. Like, you know, when you're doing those partner workouts in a CrossFit gym, and the other person, like there's like what we're talking about is like, you know, there might be a workout where there's a task. You have to complete this, then you have to complete this, and you have to do that X number of times or for an X number of minutes. And you have a bunch of different teams that are competing together to do this task. So if me and Jonathan are partners, and it's supposed to be, you know, he rows 15 calories, I do 15 pull-ups, and we have to continue to do this, and then we'll switch at some point. Well, if I'm really slow on the pull-ups, you're watching all these other teams go ahead of you. And so at some point you're like, man, I am letting down Jonathan. I don't want to let down Jonathan. Jonathan really wants to win this. I want to help him to win this.
And that mindset's what pushes you to keep working.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's like this added little bit of pressure that's also fun, because then your partner's like, wow, look at you go, man. You're killing it. Like, this is awesome. We're going to win this workout. I don't know. That's been I love that community aspect of it. And again, you can get it other places. You could have a relay race where you're doing the same thing running, and you have your running community. But I don't know. I just urge people to look for that community, man.
Being active with other people. That's what's going to keep you engaged. That's going to keep you focused. And, you know, I'm trying not to brown nose you, but I told you at our workouts, you are an inspiration. You are a few years older than me, and you are in incredible shape. You ran circles around all of us younger guys, and run circles around most people your age. And that's where I want to be. You know, I was listening to Rob Fordyce talk about why he works out. And he says, I want to be able to continue to push this boat all day long and be able to get in front of fish. There's all these reasons why you should be fit and healthy. And for me, being a fishing guide, that's part of it. I have little kids, or I want to be playing with them and be active with them. I want to be active with my kids. You do all kinds of stuff with your kids who are older, who are in college, but you're still able to do stuff with them and not go on I think you just went on a crazy hike with your daughter, and you're able to do those things because of the fitness level that you're at, because you are active.
Right.
And that's where I want to be when at all ages. I'm a big fan of Mike O'Haron. He's the Titan, and the dude's like 50 something years old. You wouldn't even know. He looks like he's in his 30s because he's just so fit and active. And that's the kind of lifestyle that I want to have.
Yeah. Plus with the age of your child and another one on the way. I was talking about it with my wife the other day about, you know, my daughter just went to college, and one of the things that she's, you know, like, she made sure that she had all her workout clothes and her running shoes and all this stuff. And she's like, okay, so I've got this schedule and this is it. When am I going to run? And she's like looking at we're looking at the schedule together, and she's like, okay, I've got this time and this time, and then there's a break between these classes. And that's when I was planning on running. And so I was just so proud of her and just happy. And I was talking to my wife about it, and I was like, man, that is so cool that, like, she is trying to go ahead and schedule this time because she understands what it means to her and what it means to her success and what it means to her mental, you know, health.
And she learned that from watching.
Well, and that's what that's what my wife and I were talking about. It was like, I never pushed it on them. I never said, you need to come down here and work out. I just did it.
By example.
I just did it. And for a long time, they don't look like they're paying attention, and they don't look like, you ask them if they want to do it and they say, no, I'd rather do anything else. And they give you whatever a 9-year-old would tell you, or a 12-year-old or a 17-year-old. But then you notice these things, like when they're on their own, like that's what they gravitate towards. And it is an example thing. Like you lead by example, and it's just like, it's not drudgery. It's not like, daddy has to go work out now. It's like, no, that's what I'm doing. And I need to go work out. I get to work out. Like and
then eventually they want to do it with you. When I was teaching, we did CrossFit stuff with our elementary kids. We did CrossFit Baseball a lot, and we would do it out on the baseball diamond, but we made it fun.
What is CrossFit Baseball?
So you have first, second, and third base, and you have someone come up, and then they would, at each base, they had to do a different exercise. And so the kids would go and do their rotations and do the different exercises. And I would keep it simple, like air squats or a sit up or a push up. And they would be small reps, 3 reps, they're kids. So, but it was fun, and it was exciting, and it was challenging, and it was a competition between the kids. And then we'd have kids outfield, we'd have kids infield, and we'd switch them out, and we would just do different things with them. And so we were getting them engaged at a young age, exercising and having fun. And so when you do this when you model this in front of children or your own kids, as they grow older, they're going to remember, hey, exercising's fun, and there's benefits to it, which is why your daughter's doing it, because she watched you do it and she sees the benefits in it from you. So kudos to you with the great parenting, and that's again, that's what I want to do with my kids. It's leading by example. No matter what you're doing, leading by example, your kids are always paying attention.
That's super cool. So how you got out of the PE? How do you think, what's the status of PE these days? Like, well, a lot of schools don't even have it.
Yeah, here in Florida, you're required to have 60 minutes of PE a week. Now, that may have changed. The numbers have changed some. I don't keep up with it as much. But having 60 minutes of PE a week, when I first started teaching, I had the same kids. I saw every kid every single day for 40 minutes. And that was fantastic. So when you add it all together, that's 200 minutes of PE a week as opposed to 60. My principal my first year was really passionate about kids being outside. There are benefits to kids taking a break from the classroom and going outside, getting some fresh air, getting some energy out, working on skills.
Sunshine.
Getting sunshine. It really helps. For the older kids, we did PE in the morning because their brains can last longer. Their attention span can last longer. So in the afternoon, when they're doing science, they can still focus. But the little kids, their focus is in the morning. So we would have the little kids in the afternoon because they can come outside and they can run around. They're still able to focus. We're still able to teach them skills and stuff like that. So it's really important for kids to have that moment at school to take a break from the desk, from the classwork, the book work, and just be active. And it's healthy. It's good for them. It gets their energy going. It gets their metabolism going. It gets them focused again. So it's a good thing. Some schools are doing like with everything with the pandemic. I have some friends that are still PE teachers, and they were filming videos, workout videos or skills videos, and putting them on YouTube so their students could log in, and it was virtual. That's good and all, but it's not the same as being in the classroom, being with your students and teaching those skills, the one-on-one and watching kids. The light bulb moments is why I did it. Watching them go from I can't do this skill to be able to dribble a basketball. That's awesome. I love those moments. And that was the biggest reason why I was teaching, and I lived for that.
Wow. That's cool. So,
PE's
you ever miss it?
No.
I mean, it was kind of like all the things that we've talked about. Like the music was a door to the guiding, and PE was, kind of the similar thing. Like, but there's sometimes where I don't know, even even a crappy job has its kind of bright spots, and sometimes you do miss certain things about it.
The bright spots were the students, spending time with the kids. And I still get that. I joke all the time and say, one of the greatest joys of guiding is helping kids skip school to go fishing. So I still get to take young anglers out on the boat and teach them and take them fishing and watch them light up when they catch a fish. See that light bulb moment still happens when they're transitioning from using a push button to going to a spinning reel.
Mm-hmm.
So I still get that. And then I taught in this neighborhood, and the schools I taught at were right down the street. And I still see those students now. A lot of those elementary kids are working, and they're at the grocery store. I see them at the grocery store. I see them all over town. And hey, Coach Moss, it's really weird. I'm not used to being called Coach Moss anymore. But it's different now. And I don't miss being in the classroom. But being a guide, I still get to be an educator. I still get to teach my clients.
Yeah, for sure.
Have the kids on the boat. So I still get to do PE, but it's just on the water.
Well, for a long time with my kids, until they went to like a school that wouldn't tolerate this anymore. When report cards came out, if they got certain grades, the next day we would go fishing, like pull them out of school, taking a sick day. We're going fishing. And awesome. Dude, it was motivational. They were like, look, check it out, Dad. I'll see you in the morning. Like, okay, yeah, we're going. So that was super cool.
I just had a charter 2 days ago. It was for a 14-year-old boy. He's going into high school. He's passionate about fishing, and his grandmother made him a deal. They booked me a couple years ago and said, hey, if your grades are a certain thing, we'll book you another charter with Jonathan. Sure enough, we had some scheduling issues this summer. We got it done this week, but he had great grades at school all school year. And so that was his reward. So absolutely, it's definitely a reward for a lot of kids.
That's terrific. So let me ask you this on a different subject, because I wanted to ask you earlier. So when you're thinking about doing a TV show today, which is certainly a different environment than when we started our TV show. When we started our TV show, that was the only type of TV show you could do was like a network TV show. There was no YouTube. There was no social media. There wasn't anything. There wasn't even a Waypoint. There wasn't anything like that. It was, you or ESPN or OLN maybe, and even when we first started, I don't even know if there were a lot of 24-hour fishing channel. So much has changed in really what is a very, very short time. So the decision to improve the quality and go from where you were, where you're putting these videos up and writing about them, to a TV show, why or where did you make the decision that wasn't going to be a YouTube show, and what you were going to do, and why wouldn't you have chosen a YouTube show? I mean, that seems like the most obvious thing. I mean, that's first and foremost in a young person's mind is, I'll be on YouTube. Like,
right.
So what was that process like for you?
The ultimate goal was to be on Waypoint. Truthfully, when I first found Waypoint, I was still teaching, and it was the only show y'all had was Silver Kings. And I couldn't get enough of it. So I knew I wanted to be part of the Waypoint family. I wanted to be there. Our first thought for season 1 was going to be strictly YouTube. But the door opened for us to be a part of the Waypoint family. I was not expecting that. I was totally blown away by that and having that opportunity. So we went after it. Being on Waypoint opened so many doors for us with viewers. It has the app. You can download it on any device. All about that is fantastic. So you are more connected, all over the world, anywhere, on any device. YouTube is a great option. In fact, we put all of our episodes on YouTube. And not to downplay YouTube shows or YouTubers, but there are so many of them that you can kind of get lost in that world. So being just strictly on YouTube for us was like, man, it's going to be, I feel like, more work because there's so many great YouTube creators,
sure.
Content creators. So I thought for sure that's where we were going to go, but we did get picked up with Waypoint, which is the direction we went, why we went that way. But YouTube is a great option. And there is all kinds of content, no matter what you want to do on YouTube. But we really wanted to be a part of the Waypoint family and going to the streaming side of television. That's where we were headed.
You got in at a good time, because what has happened since then is literally amazing with the distribution, how Waypoint has grown with the Samsung Plus TV, which didn't even exist when YouTube when Waypoint was a thought. Like, this is what we need to create. This would be really cool. Never in the wildest dreams did we think, yeah, and we could get it on, a platform like that. And wouldn't that be cool? That just kind of developed, right? Like, oh, what is this thing over here? Like, Samsung has got some kind of free network. That sounds interesting. Let's check that out, right? And then there's like 60 million Samsung TVs in the country. So that's like, that's bigger than most networks, not as big as some, but bigger than most. And then Vizio, which is what you're on right now, there's now Waypoint's on Watch Free, and there's who knows how many millions of TVs there. So all of a sudden, Waypoint's like not only just this app, but it's like a real network with real numbers that is insane. Like those numbers are insane.
Yeah. So when I have these conversations with sponsoring companies, I can say, look at where Waypoint is, where they're going. It's up and to the right. It's continually the viewers are going up and to the right because Waypoint is in front of so many people. So to be on that network, that was our ultimate goal, and that's where we wanted to be. And we're so thankful to be there. And it is reflected on our numbers, our viewer numbers, for being a brand new show and getting the numbers we're getting. It's all connected to everything, all the great things that Waypoint is doing.
Right. That's awesome. Now they have the podcast too, which you should have a podcast. You're a good talker, especially like you did the intro to this show, and I was like, whoa, that guy should either be have his own podcast or his own radio show too. Like you're pretty good.
Anytime to take on any other projects.
Well, at some point you have to say no, and sometimes the best decision that you can make towards progressing in a successful manner is actually saying no to opportunities that are actually pretty damn good opportunities, right? Like, but taking that opportunity takes away from something that you're already doing. I mean, it always does.
Saying yes ultimately means you're saying no to something.
Right.
And right now the focus is to say yes to the guiding, because that's what pays the bills, and then yes to filming, and ultimately transition to full-time content creation. And when you have too many yeses out, you're not going to accomplish anything very well.
Right. There's an awesome quote by a person that knows all too much about having a lot of things on her plate, and it's a quote by Oprah Winfrey. And Oprah Winfrey said, "You can do anything that you want to do in this life. You just can't do it all at the same time." And she's a great example of that, because like she had her show, and then, she obviously paid a tremendous amount of attention, one of the most successful television shows of all time. And then she transitions to acting. And then, even then it's not like, okay, well, now I'm going to do this other thing. Then she transitions to her network and to all these other things. But she's a great example. I mean, she really lived that. Like, yeah, I know I can do whatever I want to do, but I just can't do it all at the same time. Right. Yeah. It's interesting. I don't know. But when you do say yes, you say no to a lot of things. And when you do say no, you say yes to certain things. And that's where you place your effort. With Rich and I, there was a point in our career where we decided, okay, we're saying no to, we were inundated with opportunity. Like, what we were doing was working, and lots of other opportunities come along, and you're really literally drowning in opportunity, because as you're even trying to assess these other opportunities, like, is this something we should do? Is this something you should do? Well, you take your eye off of what got you there. Right. And so we got to a point where, like, look, if it's not this, we're not doing anything. We're not even going to take the time to see if it's a good opportunity. Like, until this happens, nothing else happens. So it was just an immediate no. And that's when we made the biggest progress, for sure.
Yeah. It's about having and I'm going to mess up the word here, but having a moral compass or a moral code. If whatever you want to do, if you're trying to accomplish something, if it's outside of that realm of I'm right here, then it's not worth pursuing. And if it fits inside of that realm, then yes, it's part of what we're doing, because it's part of the direction we're going. But it is very difficult to say no to stuff. Mm-hmm. But like I said earlier, it's if you're saying yes to everything, you are ultimately saying no to certain things. And right now our focus is to do the best we can with these three things: family, the guide service, and then the show.
Nice.
And then ultimately transition out of the guide service to just the family and the show. So
yeah. So how do you do that? Like, what's the 5-year plan, the 2-year plan, the how do you do that? We're
making as much content as we possibly can. The more content, and that was a big part of why we did 2 seasons in a year. I know people were looking at me like I was crazy. You're doing 2 seasons in a year. You're brand new. Yeah, we did 21 episodes in 1 year, and we're going to continue to go down that path, because the more content we have, the more people can watch, the more new stuff people can go and watch, which is a big part of why we're trying to release every other week once we start the season. That way our viewers have a consistent, they know when the episodes come out, they can watch all of them every other week when we release a new one. And so that's what we're doing. We're just trying to get out as much content as we can so that we can build a fan base, we can build a viewership, and then from there transition out of the guiding to full-time doing more and more of just the content creation. It's difficult. I'm juggling 2 full-time jobs plus a family, and that's a lot. There's been a lot of sacrifice with that, sacrifice with family time, sacrifice with friends. I had a conversation with a friend the other day who we had a heart to heart. He's like, man, I haven't seen you in forever. We haven't spent any time together. And it's not because I don't want to spend time with this person. I do. They're one of my best friends. I was in their wedding. We're a family. But you have to make certain little sacrifices to get to the ultimate goal. And that's part of it. It's very difficult and not the exciting part of creating television or anything. When you're focused and driven and trying to accomplish something, those are little sacrifices you have to make. But that's our goal. That's what we're doing. We're going to drive through and create as much quality content as we possibly can over the next few years to hopefully get enough financial support from sponsors. We want not only our viewers to buy in, but our sponsors to buy in and go, yeah, we want to be a part of that show. We want to be a part of that. That's the next big thing in fishing entertainment.
Nice.
I'm not looking to become famous. That's not the goal. The goal is to be passionate and to excite other people to become passionate about fishing, and at the same time to educate them and help them become the best angler they possibly can. And if I can make a living doing that, man, I'm already blessed, and that would just make it that'd be the cherry on top.
Well, I think you're well on your way to doing it, man. And it's not without noticeable hard work and dedication. And as we learned, through this conversation, a work ethic that makes you want to do things that, other people won't or can't or just won't. It's awesome. So congratulations to you, man. It's really fantastic. You got another baby on the way. Lots of good things happening with you in your life. So if people want to join your fan base that are listening to this show, what do they do?
Hey, you can watch the Captain's Log on Waypoint TV. You can download that app on any device you have. You can visit thecaptainslogtv.com, watch there, and join us, follow along with us on social media, at the Captain's Log TV on Instagram and Facebook, and our YouTube channel is also the Captain's Log TV. Join us. Message me. Let's talk. I'm always about meeting people, learning about what techniques you're using, what's helping you be successful in the water where you are, and let's connect. That's what this is about. All
right. Well, Jonathan, man, it was great to connect with you again and learn some of your backstory, man. I didn't know about all the music and other things. It's been a grind to get to where you are and hustle, and I love that. That's so awesome. It's a great story, man.
The opportunity, my friend. Good to see you.
Thank you. All right. We'll see you soon.